Like this morning, I brought in some healthy smoothies to them. I was like, I knew you wouldn't want kale, but
I know you didn't. You didn't bring me a cup of baby food this morning.
So anyhow, Staff Appreciation Month. Hello, everybody. It's Travis Holtrey from FWH Legal, and it is time for another episode of Done Lite, brought to you by Foreman Watson Holtrey. We are in the
high rise, the White Tower
at 530 Frederica Street, and we are joined today by a good friend of mine, and can't say enough about him, Nathan Parkey from Somerset, Kentucky. Nathan, say hello.
Hello. Good morning.
And Nathan got here on a sled today, PJ.
Did he?
Yeah, it's a little white sled. It's out there. I've ridden in it before. It's a nice white sled. But anyway, Nathan joins us today, so we have a lot to get into. PJ, how are you doing? You doing okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
Good.
Well, how are you doing on your New Year's resolution?
You saw me eating Taco Bell the other day, so
I was waiting for you to answer wrong because I was going to say you're not doing too well.
You were hovering over me and scared the crap out of me, and I was
smelled
mid-bite.
tacos.
Yeah, it was good, but not good for me.
Okay, well, we're not going to get distracted by the food topic today.
No, not today.
And what we're going to do is we're going to jump in. So, Nathan, let's just do a little bit of bio on you. You went to college at Western Kentucky University, is that right?
That's correct.
And graduated with a degree in what?
Financial management.
Okay. And then you stayed in Bowling Green for a while, right?
I did. I stayed there for 2 years while my wife was in grad school at U of L.
Okay. And your wife, she works in speech.
Yeah, she's a pediatric speech therapist.
Okay.
So she runs a pediatric clinic that does every type of therapy you can think of from 0 up to 18 years old, I believe.
That's great. Now, Nathan, when he was in Bowling Green, began working with, was it Panoptic? Was that where you went first? Or?
So I started in the industry of financing law firms and financing claimants. That's how I got to know personal injury attorneys. So I was still in that business all through college at Western.
All right.
And when I graduated, I decided I wanted to stay in the industry, the personal injury industry, but wanted to use my degree a little more. So I went into what we call settlement planning.
Okay. Now, we'll get into that. So PJ, one element of practicing personal injury cases that we've never talked about on the podcast is that there is there are needs that personal injury attorneys we're not allowed to take care of, or if we do take care of them, we got to be careful because of conflicts of interest. And there are also needs that arise with clients that are very important to recognize during the life of the case. One of those is when you're involved with helping a minor who has been injured, for example, and when this minor is going to come into money at the end of the case, there has got to be some planning with that because the law requires it. Well, there are a number of different ways that can be done, and so there are these businesses with consultants, with people who are trained in finance and trained in business to actually advise the attorney and to advise the clients on what their options are. So that's kind of, would you agree that's sort of a 30-second explanation of what some of the settlement solution industry is?
I think that's very accurate.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people, and it's not just minors, okay?
Right.
So people.
I was going to say, I think I might need your services just in my everyday basic life.
We all try to get PJ along, from one day to the next. He asks Missy medical questions all the time, and so anyway.
I did that yesterday.
I know.
Did she tell you?
Yeah,
I
there.
figured
Yes.
she probably said
Yes.
something to you.
I heard her laughing. So anyway, some people that come to us are already receiving SSI benefits, Social Security income, supplemental security income.
Right.
And so when they're involved with some type of a wreck or bodily injury, they're only allowed to receive so much income or they'll be disqualified from their benefits. And so that's another situation where there needs to be some settlement solution and planning for that person, right, Nathan?
Absolutely. I mean, you guys work hard to get these settlements in the first place, and depending on what benefits they're on, to make sure that we maximize these proceeds for their benefit for long into the future. There are certain measures that have to be taken up front.
Right, right. So that's another example. Sometimes if a person gets benefits during a case paid by Medicare, and then there's the settlement. Now, obviously, we know we have to deal with Medicare in paying them back something for what they've paid toward the medicals, because that would be a double recovery for the client, so to speak. However, another place where there need to be some settlement solutions is that you say, okay, Medicare saying, look, are we going to keep paying these medical bills for this person? They just received all this money, and there's this thing called a Medicare set-aside. So they have to set some of that money from the settlement aside to pay for things that are related to the injury they suffered in the wreck or however. And if it's related to that, they have to pay it out of that set-aside, okay, in order to keep the Medicare benefit. Again, something that Nathan, I guess, was a primary focus of your career for a long time.
It was. Yeah.
Right, and that's where we met.
It is.
Right, so here's how we met, PJ. You always want to hear the ooey-gooey stories about meeting, like you always are asking me about. Okay, somebody gave Nathan my name, a friend of our mutual friend named Matt McGill, right, who is a great lawyer in Bowling Green and who I co-counsel cases with, even as of recent as 2 days ago we got involved in a case together. But he said to Nathan, you might want to talk to Travis. Now, I'm just going to say in our work, there are these companies that have done this stuff forever, and a lot of personal injury attorneys, they get stuck in their ways. And Nathan, I think, would agree. We're good at what we do, but we get stuck in our ways for convenience sake. It's not because we're hard-headed. It's just like it's convenient. It's how I've always done it, And so when Nathan reached out to me and said, hey, I'm from Panoptic or whatever it was at the time, it was like, and I was like, well, why should I use you? Why? Remember? I was like, why should I use you? And somebody had told me, well, nobody's going to give you the service and the attention that Nathan does. And so we met, and from that day on, I have exclusively used Nathan in settlement resolution issues, and then we're getting ready to talk about the big new thing.
Right.
But we met, and we not only made a good business connection, but we started to develop a friendship. And I think Nathan would agree that the friendship has been more valuable to the two of us than the business part of it. Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've learned a lot more from our friendship than I have from just the cases we worked on together.
Right.
So.
And me too. I mean, now while my clients
that sounds like a loaded comment.
While my clients have committed, I definitely benefited from Nathan's insights. He is. It's just the friendship. What we do for a living, you and I've talked about this, Peter, what we do for a living, man, it is tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
And when you have allies, in the work, and somebody that gets it, but they're not an attorney, but they're working in the industry with you, it means a lot. What were you going to say?
Well, so before Nathan came along, or someone that does what he does, when you do a case, that was just a whole bunch of extra work that you were having to do.
It was,
like you were having to make sure that when you got people's settlements in, it wasn't going to affect benefits and
right. So I was using what was one of Nathan's competitors, and
so you were.
I was working with someone.
I was thinking maybe you were doing all that. It's one of those on your own as well.
It's one of those deals. It's like it's the service that comes with it.
Right,
there's a lot of people qualified to do these things. It's the follow up. Like I can tell you one of the first cases that Nathan and I worked on together, we're not allowed to mention names on here, but this client, to this day, I bet I'm going to probably speak this into being, Nathan. She'll probably reach out to us because she's not getting her trust payment or something. But he knows who I'm talking about. I mean, this guy went to her house. He talked to her more than I did.
Right.
And in the past, I didn't see that level of commitment to my clients, And what I felt good about with Nathan is Nathan treats my clients like they're his, like I do,
Yeah.
And so I've never once batted an eye when handing someone to Nathan to take care of, and you're kept in the loop, you know what's going on. So Nathan, that kind of work was interesting to you, but you saw a need in our industry, didn't you?
I did, yeah. So let me go back to this. You're talking about there's certain financial products or avenues that are meant to take care of these proceeds that typically, in the case of when children are coming into this money, the term for that, I think what you're referring to is structured settlements. I mean, that's the primary financial vehicle that's used in these cases, and I'm a huge advocate of it. But I'm also a believer that not everyone should be put into the same box. You can't put a square peg in a round hole, and not every child is in the same situation. Not every adult's in the same situation. So I started to realize that there was a more comprehensive need for comprehensive financial planning for these claimants. And that's when I broke away and started a full-fledged wealth management firm that focused exclusively on personal injury victims. And we branched into more financial strategies and more financial products. And I felt like we brought a pretty comprehensive solution to the table, no matter what the situation was or how old the client was.
You're still doing that type of work.
I do.
To this day.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
I
just
have a passion for it. I don't know that I could ever get out of it completely.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, as recent as within the last couple months, I had a very unique case that there was. It would take too long to explain it, but put it this way: in 24 years of practicing law, I had never had a case where I didn't have 1 cent in medical bills, but I had a claim that was worth near 6 figures.
Oh, wow.
And I was resolving it for someone who was incompetent, couldn't speak to me, couldn't give me any direction, who had relatives that are overseas operating with a power of attorney. And I came to Nathan and said, what do I do? What do I do here? Because I've got money on the table. I need to accept it, but I don't know what I'm looking at here. And it was one of those situations. This is when Nathan really grabbed a lot of my respect. Not that he hasn't all along the way, but he said, this is one I'm going to have to get you to somebody else on. And so Nathan sent me to somebody else, an attorney who specialized in this kind of thing. And, he's been wonderful to work with. And that's what I appreciate is if Nathan says, look, this is someone here. And then I'll tell you this about Nathan. Since he handed me over to that guy, about a month later, Nathan calls me and I say, what's up, man? And he says, hey, I just want to see how your experience was with this guy that I sent you to, because I do send other people to him and I want to make sure that he's doing a good job. So it wasn't just me. He's wanting to make sure that other people that he's referring this guy to are getting the same service. So that's the kind of service you get, So the guy is A+. But now I want to talk about...
What a stand-up guy.
I want to talk about zip liens. Now, when I get all this money, Nathan, for a client, okay, and this client had a bunch of medical bills paid by, Anthem, or they had a bunch of medical bills paid by Humana, or, Medicare, Medicaid. Who comes knocking at the time of the settlement?
They're a health insurance company.
Right. And they want that money back. And they are sometimes ruthless in trying to get that money back. So you saw another need in our industry. And so tell me about zip liens.
I did. So that activity of the health insurance company trying to get their money back is called subrogation. And most people don't realize that it even exists. I mean, that's why you pay your health insurance premiums every month to get this good health care. But the second you receive a settlement, they attach what's called a lien to your settlement, and they want to be paid back every penny that they paid on your behalf due to that accident that you were in. So traditionally, plaintiff attorneys have the responsibility to have to handle those liens in-house. They need to make sure that those outstanding financial obligations are settled at the end of the case. And because attorneys like Travis care about clients going home with as much money as possible in their pocket, they're spending a significant amount of time throughout the case and at the end of every case trying to figure out how to get those liens down as low as possible to put as much money as possible in the client's pocket. So we saw an opportunity there to be able to hire real subrogation professionals in the industry, people who have had years worth of experience dealing with primarily only subrogation law, and building a team of people that can team up and partner with these law firms to provide the expertise to negotiate these liens down as low as possible, take a little bit of that burden and that work off the plaintiff attorney's plate, while also putting more money in the claimant's pocket. We wanted to make sure that there's 3 parties involved here and that it's a win for everybody.
Zip Liens is coming up on 1 year anniversary, or just had it?
Yeah, we just had our 1 year anniversary in November.
Right.
So
they're a baby company in the realm of time, but met with Nathan about a month ago in Bowling Green, and we were talking about we like to share notes about how we can make our businesses better together. And I just point blank asked, I said, let me see your growth. How you doing? And it's one of those charts where it's just going up and up. And that's not because of luck. It's not because of just planning. It's because the company reflects this guy's work ethic,
Right.
And so Zip Liens is adding daily to you're now servicing Kentucky, Tennessee.
yeah, we have Kentucky, Tennessee, Georgia, Ohio, Indiana, and starting to get some out of West Virginia now.
Oh, wow.
as well, so.
Yeah, so
That's awesome.
So yeah,
Thank you.
That is that's the interesting thing that we see is that they have a guy that works for them named Levi, and our staff knows Levi. It's like that relationship. They've probably never met the guy, but they know him better than his wife or something. Is Levi even married?
He is married.
Okay. But anyway, Amy and Kelly, who Nathan, they work with Levi every day on working on these liens. Let me tell you something that's interesting with Zip Liens. You have the ability at any time to go into their portal and pull up your case for your client and see what progress they're making in locking down that lien. And I call it locking down the lien. In other words, we want to get it down to as little as possible, lock it in, and get it paid. And so they have a portal, very user-friendly, and you can go in and you can see exactly the last thing they did, what they did before that, the documents that they have on file, which I think sets Zip Liens apart. It's incredible, and easy to use. So today, Nathan's in town because he's wanting to pick, this is just typical of Nathan, he wants to pick the brain of Kelly and Amy because they've probably been
Mm-hmm.
using Zip Liens across the board as long as anybody else, right?
As consistently as anybody. Yeah.
Right. And so he wants to come and say, how can we get better? What can we do to get better? It's kind of like our Monday meetings. What do we do
Right.
today to get better? And so he's here. But let me ask you, this is Staff Appreciation Month here at Foreman Watson Holtrey. We've done some things. We're doing some things through social media. Like this morning, I brought in some healthy smoothies to them. I was like, I knew you wouldn't want kale, but
I know you didn't bring me a cup of baby food this morning.
So anyhow, Staff Appreciation Month, and you Nathan have told me in the past, you're like, man, Amy and Kelly and Kathy specifically, working with them. What is it about them, from an outside because I see them every day, but from dealing with them or working with people that deal with them, that you think sets them apart?
They are, to me, some of the most engaged paralegals I have ever met. Nothing slips by them. They hold us accountable. They don't mind if we hold them accountable. It's just a really good working relationship. Although our business is built off trying to take this work off of attorneys and off of paralegals, it's still a two-party transaction. We cannot do our job if we don't get the proper documents and the proper records and everything we need, that really we rely on the paralegal to send us that stuff. And there's just nobody in the industry so far. I mean, we've worked on thousands of cases at this point, and your firm is consistently just so easy to communicate with. They're responsive. They give us everything we need. Truthfully, I think that's why you guys have seen so much value out of our service, because we count on each other, and you guys have put in the work on your end to make sure that this has been a successful relationship.
Right.
And I can't tell you how much I appreciate that.
Well,
too.
it's been a win-win situation, and what's exciting for me is it's only going to get better because of you taking time to do what you're doing today, and that is meeting with the ones that are actually using it day in and day out and saying, where are we falling short? What can we do to get better?
I know your girls well enough to know that I'm going to get the truth, so it scares me a little bit too.
No,
but
they
I'll go
will.
feed them first, and then we'll.
They give
and
me
then we'll
the
ask
truth
the
daily, don't they,
questions.
PJ?
Yes.
Nathan, let's say, do you know that each of them, when we are again getting crammed for space here. I mean, we took over the entire top floor of this building and thought, okay, we finally got space. We're already crammed, okay, but each of them made room when we were just recently moving things around to put a chair right by their desk, and they call it my timeout chair. And they come in here and they get me and they put me in timeout so that I will address tell Levi he's not alone. I mean, I get put in timeout daily, and if I dare try to get up, it's like no. So they're that way with everybody they work with. They're going to make sure the work gets done, and they're that way with PJ.
Oh yeah. Well, and it makes me better at what I do. Honestly, so
Yeah,
I appreciate.
I hear
that.
him in there scolding PJ like, "Why would you put that in a video presentation? Why is this in the video?" PJ has to defend himself.
every time I give a presentation to Amy, I am dreading getting her notes back because I just know she's going to be like, "This is
Listen,
why would
they're
you
bulldogs.
do this is ridiculous." I was like, "I'm trying to be creative."
So on the time machine over there, where are we at, PJ? On
about
our
20.
goal? Okay, so here's the deal. I have not said anything yet about the fact that, okay, we're coming up on another anniversary here in March. Marks 1 year since I picked up the game of golf. I don't want to be totally misleading. Now, back when I was in law school, I lived on Cherokee Golf Course in Louisville, and so I kind of picked the game up then, and I loved it. And by the time I got out of law school, I got into where I was halfway decent in the game. Never took a lesson, never did, and just kind of taught myself how to play. Watched other people like you, and it's like, oh, I could swing like that maybe. As I had kids and developed my practice and stuff, I just never golfed. I quit golfing right after I got out of law school. Last year, Missy was like, okay, you don't have a hobby. You don't do anything for fun for you. It's always doing stuff for other people and always working. You got to have something that you do that's fun for you. And I was like, I didn't know what it was, So I hem-hauled around for a while. And so I said, okay, I'm going to golf. Well, Nathan is a very good golfer, okay, very good golfer. And so I guess, it's one of those humility things. So the first story about golf was that Nathan invited me with a bunch of other guys to go to Victoria National and to kind of have a CLE and then to have some dinner and then golf and hang out for, it was 2 days, right? And that day, night, then next day.
Yeah.
Now, in my mind, like there's no more fun time. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'd love to do that because those places up there are incredible. Golf course is beyond incredible. But I didn't do it because I was embarrassed about how my golf game was. I was like, I'm not a good enough golfer to be with those guys. Okay, so this year, so finally by the end of kind of golf season, Nathan had persuaded me, no matter how bad my golf game was, that I could go with him. So I go to Victoria National, which is not a forgiving golf course, and then Valhalla, right? And that day I'll never forget for many reasons. But the guy, I'm saying all this to say this, PJ, he still likes me despite my golf game. He has seen me lose more golf balls. He has seen me chunk up more courses, and he still is a friend. So now that is the ultimate test of friendship. So I appreciate that, Nathan.
I enjoy it.
But I was gonna say you enjoy winning. That's what
I know you're human when I see you on the golf course because the way you pump out work and the other ideas that come out, I'm like, this guy can't be human. And then he gets on the golf course, I'm like, yeah,
he's human.
He's human.
He's human. That's right. We're working on that, and so. Nathan
working on your golf game.
Yes, I'm working on my golf game. I bet I've played more golf in 2020 than Nathan has.
I guarantee you.
So there you go.
A 3-year-old and an 11-month-old to do that to you.
That's right.
So.
And bad weather, But I've been out twice. And anyway,
well, I'm not a golfer. I know I have the body of a classic golfer, but now I can play some pretty mean putt-putt.
I've heard that you're a good putt-putter.
I love me some putt-putt.
Yeah.
But real golf, no. It's a sport.
Here's the fun thing about PJ's. He watched the Super Bowl and he was like, man, this is great. He says next year he's prepared for all the questions. So.
Oh, yeah. I'll be ready.
And by the way, I did lose. This is like the first time we've recorded since I lost on the coin toss. So I lost 2 rounds of golf and I lost a case pocket knife to my dad. So I lost. I had bet. And what's funny about the bet was I let the other person pick. I said, just pick heads or tails. And every one of the people that I let pick said tails. And doggone it.
Okay,
it
for some reason I thought the first bet you made they had said heads.
No.
So I thought you
Warren said tails.
Okay,
John
I thought
said
he
tails,
said
and
heads.
my dad said tails.
Oh, well,
So,
yeah.
Yeah,
That
so it
was
was
a
a bad coin toss.
I
man.
lost 2.
Did you lose on the coin toss?
No, I'd lost
On the game?
on the line. Yeah.
Okay, so I had a bet in the game on the over-under of how many times Garoppolo would pass in the game. And it was set at 21. And I took the over because I thought that the 49ers would be playing from behind. And that bet paid just shy of $1,000. So it was a good bet.
Wow.
I hit. That was so I can pay for the golf. I've never watched a football game where I was counting a quarterback's number of passes. I didn't care what else was going on in the game. I was like, pass. So anyway, it's amazing what you can bet on. In
The number of opportunities to gamble in the Super Bowl is
it's crazy.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. Yeah.
the over/under on how long the anthem's going to last.
Yeah,
everything
there's all
you can
kinds
think
of things. What the first score is going to be, a field goal or
What
a touchdown.
color is the Gatorade going to be that's poured on
Yes,
the winning
that was
coach's
one.
head?
Yeah, that's kind of stuff
Really?
you get into though, PJ. You'd like that, wouldn't
all
you?
those random. I don't gamble though.
Yeah.
I'd rather just keep the money I have because I know I'm going to lose the money that.
Well, especially if you get into golf, you'll lose. Okay, so that's why. We've only bet a couple times. It was really funny because I was playing horrible and we had about 120-yard shot into the green on a difficult. That was a difficult. Our balls were actually they weren't laying close together. I threw mine down where Nathan's was because I'd lost the ball, and so Nathan goes, "Hey, you want to bet on dinner for this shot closest to the hole?" I said, "Sure." And I think I went first, and I hit. It was like I've never hit a shot like that. It went down and bounced, and it was like 1.5 feet, 2 feet from the hole. So I won. So Nathan gets me back on the last hole. He says, "We're gonna go double or nothing on this hole. I'll even give you a stroke." So he gives me a stroke. I still lose. So right now we neither one of us owe anything.
Well,
so.
I suck at golf. I've tried to play real golf and.
It's
no.
okay. You're good at other things.
I'm like
PJ.
Shooter McGavin playing against Happy Gilmore. That's every time. So
You are good at many other things, so we'll forgive your golf. Okay. Nathan, thanks for joining us. We're going to stick around. Will you stick around for 20, 30 more minutes to record another episode?
I would love to.
All right. So this has been Done Lite from Foreman Watson Holtrey. We're at the 5:30. It's a little cold outside. The frozen tundra right outside of the White Tower, high-rise White Tower here in Owensboro, Kentucky. FWHlegal.com. Foreman Watson Holtrey. Your problem is our passion.